on data's integrity. Agility in processes. The bigger the organization, more is the inertia, right? In fact, one of the speakers in the morning was talking about, rather yesterday morning, why should we have SOPs anymore? Why shouldn't we give flexibility to the Gen Z who are more intelligent and faster than all of us combined? I mean, we don't agree with it, but then that's a generation gap. Why can't we do that? Why can't we have a boundary defined that, okay, you won't go out of this boundary, but do whatever you can in the boundary, provided the results are better and faster? Why not have that flexibility? And that flexibility needs to be propagated within the organization, that all of us leaders here at all levels need to make sure. Resilience through predictive intelligence. So intelligence is not good enough. Today when uncertainties hit, then we react, oh, let's do that and let's do this. But then we should be able to predict the uncertainties based on the past data, not just with predictive modeling that we used to do and optimization models that we used to use in 2000s and 2010s, those 2 decades, but based on the data that we have captured over the decades, run AI models and AI algorithms on top of it so that we have predictive intelligence. The new paradigm. So quality is a strategic enabler. It's not a choice anymore. Be it auto manufacturing, be it pharma, or be it service industry as we discussed. Now, the AI needs to be trustworthy. It needs to be repeatable, and most importantly, it needs to be explainable as to if AI is throwing these results to me, how do I explain that? How is it doing it? And mind you, AI today, the engines are so powerful, the algos are so powerful that once the AI gets trained, 40% of the results that AI throws are not explainable. We don't really understand as to how AI is predicting, right? So that is the power of AI. That is the speed, the acceleration at which the quality of algorithm, etc., are growing. And then there are risks, right? You use AI on a biased data set, you will get wrong predictions. You'll get wrong processes. You'll get wrong suggestions. And therefore, you will make wrong decisions. So it is on the integrity of the data, the accuracy of data on how AI would function best. Integrity ensures resilience, and resilience ensures business continuity. So resilience is something that we need to work on. Culture is something that we need to work on, and we'll talk about it a little bit later again. Smart factories and digital twins. So digital twins, as already brought out by Dr. Rajshekhar, so they are living beings. They can control the water in your tap. They can control the flight path. The entire airports today are on digital twins, so there is no manual intervention. Your factories can be manless with near zero errors. Because unfortunately, wherever human element enters, humans are error prone by nature. And that's actually what makes us unique also. But machines do not make errors, right? It does not make errors in reading. It does not make errors in writing or in suggestions. Right, so I'll take you through 3 case studies. The automotive. So a large automotive company out of Europe deployed, rather enabled one of the pilot factories fully AI compliant in late 2021, and right out of COVID, right? Many in the industry thought that they were that was not the right decision to make because there was too much uncertainty, but what the hell, they went ahead with it, and this is what they got. The maintenance downtime was brought down to 30%, right? And all of us from manufacturing industry, we know what that means, right? We had a speaker yesterday talking about how Tata went about it, right? Right. Only thing is that by tweaking processes, by managing processes, by managing people, we could, probably make a difference of 10, maybe 15%, by 10 or by 15%. But this is to 30%, so by 70%. Case study 2, pharma and healthcare. So there is something called API in the pharma industry, which is active pharmaceutical ingredient, right? And that is the base of all the medicines. That is the formula, right? And that is secret, very, very closely guarded. In fact, nobody knows where most of the API factories or storages, the large pharma companies have. They're so secretive. Their security is better than a data center. So anyway, R&D in pharma goes for 10 to 12 to 15 years, and then they are able to bring in a new medicine in the market. Maybe more than that, right? So it's so closely guarded. But what happens is, because of human factor, because of Chinese whispers, because of all other different variables and parameters, sometimes it is very, very highly possible that there is some tweak in communication, and the API formula or the product, it slightly varies, from the first year of research to 5th or 10th year of research. So this company, they engaged us for deployment of the solution. Today, they are able to work on a non-compliance which has been reduced by 40% as far as the API communication and API research on API is concerned. Aerospace and airport operations. This is the most interesting by far and by miles, because airport, again, it's a living being, right? And there are so many stakeholders. It's a very, very complex ecosystem, from concessionaires to flyers to housekeeping staff to pilots to crew to maintenance staff, airside, city side, terminal side. So digital twin simulations, when we had deployed it in Changi Airport, that was the first terminal that we had enabled on digital twin. The cargo operations, we were able to optimize the manpower. With the same resources, we were able to double the throughput of the cargo terminal, utilize the assets from a utility perspective from 40% margin to 85% margin. That's how digital twin is so effective, and the entire procurement model was changed. The entire service procurement model was changed, because where you require 3 people and 3 machinery, normally with a digital twin, wherein it tweaks your processes and tells you how you can optimized, how can you have optimized operations. The need for resources, the need for humans, it normalizes and tells you between 1 hour how many people and how many machinery you will be needing for loading the aircraft, for example. Right, we've heard a lot about digital twins, blockchain, etc. But let me talk about cybersecurity integration, wherein all the IT professionals have been, so cybersecurity, there was no cybersecurity professional, right, till say 10 years ago. The IT professionals, the CIOs used to also lead the cybersecurity function. So makers and checkers, same, everybody was having a wall. Then suddenly it occurred that it was a maker-checker concept, and people were not really accountable. So this is how cybersecurity grew from within the IT function, and what it meant was the initial cybersecurity professionals paid more attention to the enterprise IT cybersecurity and not on the OT. And that is the pain area in manufacturing sector today, wherein the OT itself is not cybersecure. You'll be surprised to know the company that I worked for about till 2 years ago, one of the largest conglomerates in India, having several businesses, including airports, ports. I was heading their technology and automation for the entire group. That group took over a company that was into cement manufacturing, right? Thank you. Just a minute more. This is pretty interesting, you should also listen. The cement manufacturer, there was no DMZ in the SCADA, which meant that I could go anywhere, wherever the Wi-Fi signal, weakest Wi-Fi signal was receivable, and I could actually stop production of their entire cement factory. I could induce a malware, I could do whatever, ransomware, whichever. Right. I'll just talk about the culture transformation. Okay, challenges and pitfalls, important. Cyber risks, I've talked about. Cost-benefit trade-offs, the organizations must worry about cost-benefit trade-offs, but in the long run, they are going to pay off. In any case, we are talking about ROI, we are talking about quick ROI, quick turnarounds. All right, let's quickly talk about culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Not by Peter Drucker though, but on the internet you'll find, please go through it. But I'll suggest you 3 books. The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. Simon Sinek wrote Leaders Eat Last, and The Switch by Chip and Dan. Please read these 3 books because culture is something which does not change immediately. Today you decide to switch on the light and the light gets switched on. The roadmap is simple. You get your data in order, run AI pilots on your data sets, integrate digital twins, scale with integrated frameworks, and have continuous improvement processes. It's hazy, right? The slide is hazy, right? So is the future, right? But what you need to understand is what looks hazy today will eventually clear off when you walk towards it, right? Yes? So the way to future is AI, quantum, sustainability, human AI collaboration, and most importantly, having quality as a board agenda. There are no limits. Call to action is built with integrity, lead with agility, and scale with resilience. The choice is simple. Prosper or perish. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Gauraji, for your interesting presentation, and particularly the 3 pillars. I think it's a good takeaway, and your use cases were also very useful. And the last 3 books, I think we should start reading it. Okay. So now let's move on to the next.
We request our speaker to felicitate Colonel Gauri Singh. It's really power-packed, sir, to listening to you. A big round of applause for him. Thank you for being with us. Is not enough. Really, it should be big.
Now let's move to the next young dynamic and robotic engineer, Mr. Abhilash Chakravarti, MD of ACE Robotics. He's a BE Mech and MBA Finance from BITS Pilani. He had received Global Achievers Award from development of ICU ventilators during COVID period. He did a great job. He is also a chief scientist of ACE Robotics, specialized in the field of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, and embedded systems. Over to you, Abhilash.
Honorable guests on the dais, engineers, business owners, quality executives, and members. Good evening to one and all present here. So today is a very interesting topic, right? So AI, and it's a very confusing topic, and it's a very prime topic in today's age. And AI has become brand ambassador of majority of the products today, right? AI-enabled cars, AI-enabled bikes, AI-enabled TV, maybe mixie grinder, everything may become AI-enabled as well in upcoming ages. So why not we take this AI to be a brand ambassador for our shop floors as well? Of course, we have to use it as much as possible to further enhance our productivity and quality. So what AI is actually? That's one of the biggest questions, and what it actually means. So before going to the final agenda of using it as a brand ambassador for our shop floor, so let's go to the basics. So to understand what the AI is, so we can actually utilize it to the maximum potential. So this is another question and common misconception, right? So AI means machine learning, neural networks, natural language processing systems, robotics. So there are multiple meanings to the same set of word or the abbreviation. So what it is actually? So AI is actually a neural network. So it's a neural network combined together to form the actual outcome. So what is a neural network? So it's another complex term added into the AI terminology, right? So a neural network is a combination of nodes. To simplify it, a basic AI may cover somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 nodes to comprise a particular AI platform. So each node is nothing more than a probability analysis. So to break it down further, so we as humans, how do we think, right? So we think about different probabilities to address certain requirements. Let's assume somebody asks you a particular question. So in our mind, we think about different probabilities to give the right answer to them, and think about our previous experiences, think about the alternate solutions that the opponent may give a reply to you. So each node is a probability analysis which will give you the most reliable solution that the end user may require or end user may have. So there was this simple joke at that time when the AI came up at the initial stage. This guy types on his computer searching for a poem to give it to somebody, and the AI gives him a poem in Tamil, Hindi, and in English. And eventually he also asked about, why don't you speak it out? And it also spoke the entire poem. And he also asked, why don't you give a feel to it? And the screen shook a bit. And he just moves his screen and he sees a person behind. So that was a simple joke that came at that time. So is somebody really standing somewhere and replying for your requirements or your prompts? So that is another question of how AI actually thinks. So what the AI models or general models come up with is a parallel noding system where there will be a probability analysis node that will be analyzing each probability as you ask by. If you enter the first word, let's assume what is the best tool to use for a facing operation. So the first three words itself, it tries to predict what will be the last two words. So each AI model has multiple layers of noding system placed one over the other. and each node tries to contribute to the final outcome. So we have understood basically what AI is. So it's very simplified version of it, but to be real with you, it is much more complicated, and there are different models available to formulate these nodes. So to simplify it further, it's like a if-else statement. Let's assume one node is having a if statement for if somebody asks what as the first word, so that will trigger one node as one of the probability to chain it to another node. So that's how it starts. And one such example, what we did a few years back in our own robot manufacturing company at that time, was we tried to create a very simple node at that time to create some emotions, right? Like Indran movie, we also try to add some emotions to our robots that we manufacture. So the node was to address the forces that has been generated on the robot, and it reacts back. So if you push it slowly, it also tries to react back and push you slowly. If you push it harshly, it will try to push you back even much harsher. So likewise, we created a very small node at that time, and we are also trying to adopt further more nodes in our robotic system, as well as in our software company, where we make a lot of CRMs and project management systems with the nodes that we will see how to implement in our shop floors. So AI transformation, right? So that word of transformation, so where we have to start to transform. So we have understood what AI is and how the AI system works. So we have understood that's a probability analysis to get you somewhere. So how to transform in our organization? Majority, we think about using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to directly integrate or incorporate in our organizations. Practically speaking, that may not help. That may help to certain associates who try to fill up mails, wrong mail, they can refurbish it with a ChatGPT. But in real terms, that may not be the case. So in order to implement AI in a shop floor or in a quality department, or for that matter any department, I am trying to generalize it in a perspective of a factory. So a factory or a production shop has multiple departments. Let's take 4 departments: the sales, production, quality, and dispatch. So if you take these 4 departments as the primary agenda and try to incorporate AI into it, sales is one area where that generates revenue to trigger all these 3 departments, and production again has further more requirements, and quality, and finally dispatch and packaging systems. So how to do this? We have understood that AI can be utilized in these departments. Now, how to implement that? So the AI cannot be just implemented directly with some of the tools or models. So first thing that it requires a system. See, without any system, AI is pretty much like, going and telling somebody, I'm going to drive a car tomorrow and go and participate in F1 car race. So that is like directly, betting on yourself, believing your car is going to, or your F1 car is going to take you somewhere to the final destination. That's not the case. So that's a very irrational approach. So you have a very powerful muscle car or a F1 car to, finish your end line. So that's not how AI works. So even with good AI models like ChatGPT, which is pretty much a language model, or Claude or Gemini, so the approach or the concept is similar, but it requires a lot of data. So data are very specific. So specific in the sense the system that you already have or incorporated in your organization becomes the driving force to implement AI in your system or in your organization. So how to get this data? So the system already drives the data and have accumulated some level of information about your organization, how your sales team performs, how data has been gathered. Let's assume you have 4 managers in 4 different states. So they have been directly visiting customers, interacting with the customers, how much time they have taken to close a particular order, what was the discounts that they have given over the period of time. So all this data gives the information for the AI to analyze and give you a practical outcome to a better ASMs or a better manager or a better form of sales outcome. Same applies to your production, same applies to your quality and dispatch as well. So first system is required. Next, the AI requires a data to that. So the first step for implementing any AI model, maybe in upcoming days there will be multiple companies approaching, manufacturers in India that I have implemented a AI system. We will be able to implement AI system in your organization. The first question that you have to ask yourself would be that whether we have the system enough to train these models. So even if somebody is trying to offer you a solution, you must first have the data to implement this solution. So the first stage would be to understand your process flow and then come up with a distinct tool. If you take sales, that will be a CRM. If you take production, that may be a production management system, or a quality would be a quality management system, maybe a ERP as a whole. So in our own software division, we came up with a few of these subdivided models where we established a data gathering system and subdivided all these products so that a customer, when he enters into our CRM system, he can search, what will be the route plan for the next 3 days? Where can we go? Can you schedule me a plan